What's the best city to live in Australia as an international student? Undoubtedly, Australia is a popular destination for international students because it's beautiful and home to many renowned universities, and it has so many amazing cities, but each one offers something different. So let's break it down and decide which city would suit your lifestyle, goals, and budget. Let's start with the iconic choice, Sydney, where I'm at. Sydney is Australia's largest and most famous city, home to the iconic Sydney Harbour Bridge and Opera House and its stunning beaches. It's also home to top universities like University of Sydney and UNSW, even UTS where I went. You'll find endless opportunities for networking and part-time work, especially in industries like finance, tech, and hospitality. I love the option of going for startup events or industry events where I can network and meet new people all the time. Many industries have headquarters here, so the job market always has jobs, even though there is more competition, so keep a note of that. But what really drew me into Sydney was the iconic beaches and landmarks. I believe the northern beaches in Sydney are one of the most beautiful beaches I've ever seen so far, and getting to live near the beach on the eastern suburbs and having the city right there is such a plus. So I'm grateful to be here and grateful to have lived this lifestyle, but it is very fast paced. Even though there's stunning beaches and whatnot, the city is always bustling. It has a vibrant lifestyle, and with that comes its price. If you don't mind spending more than you would in other cities, Sydney might be the city for you. Now, next up, the most livable city in the world, Melbourne, which is also the cultural capital. Melbourne is known as Australia's cultural hub. It's really upbeat, it's very Gen Z, if I might say myself. It's very hip, it's very trendy, and it's home to prestigious universities like University of Melbourne and RMIT. Some of my friends have had great experiences at University of Melbourne because it is so renowned and it has a history to it as well. And I think Melbourne has more smaller universities than Sydney too. So if you want to budget a little bit more in terms of tuition fees and rent, Melbourne might be for you. It's also famous for its art, music, and coffee culture. And of course, it's been ranked one of the most livable cities in the world. But you have to be aware that the weather is challenging. The fact that I mentioned all these positive things about it and I still don't live there is proof of why so many people would not as well, because the weather is unpredictable. It's mostly rainy. In Sydney, it's much more temperate, I would say. It's sunny for a few days, then it rains for like 2 days and it goes back to sunny. Sydney might not be hot all the time, but Melbourne is definitely wet all the time. People even say you experience all 4 seasons in a day in Melbourne because it is a bit south. The cost of living would be higher than the other cities I would mention later on in the video, but compared to Sydney, it's definitely more affordable. So if you're into creativity, diversity, and a buzzing cultural scene, Melbourne could be the fit for you. And also, the parties are better. Sydney nightlife, dead. If you want to experience a real night out, go to Melbourne. Third, of course, the sunny options like Brisbane, Gold Coast, Sunshine Coast. They're a great choice for students who love warm weather and a relaxed lifestyle. They're all in Queensland, which is mostly hot. And they have top institutions like University of Queensland and QUT. Some of my friends have gone to both of them and had great experiences. So definitely University of Queensland because they have these big campuses and actual campus life. So if you're into that, go for these kind of universities. The cost of living is more affordable than Sydney and Melbourne. The weather is amazing, sunny all year round, but it could be humid. The job market though is smaller, so finding part-time work may be difficult, but I've never lived there, so this is just based off of what I've heard. But if you're looking for a laid-back vibe and love the outdoors, they have a lot of hikes and nature trails. The sunny options like Brisbane, Gold Coast are definitely worth it. Now let's talk about Adelaide. Adelaide is often overlooked, but it's a hidden gem for international students. It's one of the most affordable cities in Australia for students. It has a more smaller, more community feel to it. So when I went there, it kind of seemed like Sydney to me, but just smaller city and way less people. And top universities like University of Adelaide and Flinders University is also there. My cousin goes to University of Adelaide and she loves it, so there you go. Especially if you pick one of their top courses that they rank for, it would be a good choice. But keep in mind it's quieter than the larger cities. It might not be buzzing or have a bustling nightlife, but if you're on a budget and you prefer a slower pace of life, Adelaide is a fantastic option. I think I might even move there when I'm ready for more of a slower pace in life. Now let's talk about Perth and Tasmania. I think they fall into the same category even though they're in different states, but they are gaining popularity among international students because they're home to great universities like University of Tasmania, University of Western Australia and Curtin University. The cost of living is definitely reasonable compared to the other cities I mentioned, and they offer stunning beaches and outdoor activities. Keep in mind they're a bit more isolated from the major cities, so traveling within Australia might take longer and it would be more quieter, I presume. But if you love nature and a quieter lifestyle and you don't mind the distance, Perth or Tasmania would be a great option to study for you. Now, how to decide, even after knowing all that? Here are my tips. Consider your budget. Some cities are definitely more expensive than others, so plan accordingly. I've always lived in Sydney, so I just don't know any other way of spending, and if you could spend less, because in my mind, the rent and the cost of living here is normal to me, but if other people from the other cities would come here, they would find that bizarre. And therein comes in my next point. Think about the kind of lifestyle you prefer. Are you a more fast-paced city person or like a bit more of a relaxed vibe? The third thing is to consider opportunities. See if the job market aligns with what you're going to study or be a professional in, and if they have a demand of that profession in that city and opportunities in your field to network with other individuals. Otherwise you'd be really isolated. And also research universities. Make sure the city and the course are a good fit for what you're looking for. If you're looking for the best education or if you're looking for some majors you really want to do, and see if you could already have a support system there, because it definitely helps if you know some people in the city, especially if it's your first time moving out of home, is really beneficial. Now, every city in Australia has its own charm, but the best one for you depends on your priorities and obviously the offers you get from the universities. Whether it's the Sydney hustle, Melbourne's creativity, Brisbane's sunshine, Adelaide's affordability, or Perth's beauty, there is a city in Australia that might be the perfect fit for you. Let me know what city you are leaning towards, or if you're in the midst of deciding. I'm making videos every day based on the questions you guys have asked me in the comments or on Instagram. So be sure to check again because I'm trying to post every day. I'll see you next time.